Petty versus peaceful.
Oh Lord.
You would know about those moments. And then, maybe give them some
we shooting early, huh? The problem is the problem, not each other. Being mad at each other didn't solve anything.
Put your pride to the side.
That's tough. Let's dig.
I feel like a lot of times petty comes in because you're too prideful to admit that you're wrong.
When pride is so prevalent in the relationship, you will find yourself hitting your head against the wall. I can't love and be petty.
Yeah. Oof. At the end of the day, what you trying to accomplish? Yeah. You want the goal to be something that you both want to attain. The goal should be always to have the least damage.
Yeah.
And to also accomplish whatever you guys are setting out to accomplish.
Yeah. What's up, family? This is Jay.
And this is Tay.
And you're now tuned in to another episode of the Unscripted Journey Podcast. Well, family, this is episode 2.
Yes.
And let's get right into it. Today, we want to talk about
petty versus peaceful.
Oh, Lord. That's what we want to talk about today. Petty versus peaceful.
Yeah.
Peaceful. Versus peaceful, excuse me.
Yeah.
Well, Tay, since this is something that you kind of dub, let's kind of give the people a segue into it before we dive into it of what we're discussing about, petty versus peaceful.
Yeah. So we're just kind of talking about in marriage, petty versus peaceful, right? Yeah. How to not choose violence, right? Yeah. Like how we can have conversations and think of ways to reframe things.
Yeah.
So that it's productive.
Yeah.
Versus going the petty route and trying to get your point across, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I was thinking when I was thinking of petty versus peaceful, like really kind of talking through that conversation for married couples to kind of give some insight into maybe, moments where we've been petty versus peaceful. You would know about those moments. And then, give them some...
we shooting early, huh?
And then maybe just give them some nuggets that we've learned along the way.
I got you.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's start off. So what would you... and when it comes to disagreements, when it comes to different opinions and different ways of, how to go through the conflict in a relationship or a marriage, what would you think is the first thing that you would think somebody would need to know what pertaining to being petty versus peaceful?
So I would think the first thing is that communication.
Okay. All right.
That communication can be rough, right?
No, most definitely.
So I feel like an expectation management, like communication and expectation management.
I got you.
I feel like it's been a lot of times in our relationship, more so early on, and sometimes I find myself being petty, in these latter years. But like early on, just that communication piece. Like if I say, "Hey, babes, I want you to do something," expectation management. Like I'm basically saying, jump up and doing that, right? Or it's important to me, or like I would like you to do it within this time frame. But most times I've learned that, and I saw in myself that when I ask you to do something, I'm not probably fully communicating like that expectation of when I would like you to do it, right?
Exactly.
Like say for instance, like something that I know that I do that cracks even me up when I do it, when I'm being petty. It's like I'll be like, for instance, I want you to our backyard furniture, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so our backyard furniture, we had bought some. It took a while for you to put up, right? Yeah. And I was kind of like, "Hey, babes, can you put the backyard furniture together?"
Right.
And, it was kind of like, okay. You was like, yeah, okay. And you started doing something else. Yeah. And, maybe a day went past. Yeah. It was kind of like you started doing something else. It was like, okay, so now I'm like, you just be sitting on your game and I'll just bust out. What you say you was about to go do the backyard furniture? Like, now at this moment, I'm just like, okay, I'm being petty.
Yeah.
When a peaceful way could have been like, hey, babes, I know I asked you to do the backyard furniture.
Right.
Can you give me a time frame of when you'll be able to get it done?
Yeah.
Not even necessarily when you'll do it, but when can you say that you will have it done?
Right.
So that I won't be anxious or feeling like you forgot about it or it's not top of mind to you, but I'll have some expectation management. So then maybe later on, after you give me that date and it's still not done, I won't feel as bad being like, "What you say you was going to do? You said you was about to put that fireplace up."
Yeah,
you know.
I gotta be honest. She can be the queen of petty around here, around our house, and in our relationship. But I think that's a very key, very vital
just communication
and communication, right?
Expectation management,
and not only that, but I go a step further of understanding who is the direct communicator. Right? Who is the one that is super direct, super just like get to the point, and who is the person that sometimes beats around the bush and trying to navigate how to say it right, and how to make sure it lands correctly. And I think sometimes that in our communication, right, in our relationship, that there has been some times where you can cut, right? You can, and it wasn't all about what you said. Right. It was just how you said it, right? And I think that in communication, that has to be something that's very aware, right? You must be aware
very self-aware,
of that, right? Very self-aware of who is what and how can it come off, because and I'm not going to act like I don't have petty moments, right? I'm a human. Don't do that. Don't do that. But like understanding at the end of the day is like, what are we trying to do?
Right.
We're trying to communicate something and to get something done.
At the end of the day. Right. And it was like, at the end of the day, what's the point of going back and forth or even being slick if it still doesn't get done? Or if it just frustrates the person? Because I feel like most times when you're being petty, it doesn't speed up the situation. It slows it down. So now it's like, okay, I was petty and said that, and I got a little giggle off of it, but now he's frustrated, and so now it's like, now I got to go through the anger part to get back to like the main thing, which was getting the backyard furniture up.
Because petty is only going to beget petty. So you petty, like, nah. You know what? Now I'm absolutely not going out there to do it just to make you even more mad, because you approached me that way instead of asking me, hey, when do you think you're going to be able to do it? Right?
So I think that, being petty definitely doesn't speed anything up.
No, not at all.
Maybe, you may get a little giggle out of it or something like that, but the other person is annoyed. So definitely. Though when I think of petty versus peaceful, I definitely think of like the way in which we communicate, the way in which we should communicate with our partners in order to get the main thing done, which is whatever you're asking of them.
I got you.
So what do you think when we talk about being petty and being peaceful? Like what would you like to tell couples is something that they need to be aware of?
I think that being aware will be this, understanding that the problem is the problem, not each other. Because I think that breeds a lot of the pettiness.
That pointing at the fingers will do it every time.
You know what I mean? And so that breeds it because we look at each other as the problem. Right. We look at each other as the one who did something. We look at each other as the one who didn't do something. And we don't understand that there's a problem at the end of the day. And I think that was one thing that we really had to learn, that being mad at each other didn't solve anything. Right. I believe in the beginning of our marriage, one of the craziest things is that, and it's, we're human, so you give each other grace, but we were like wanting to prove that we were right. Right. And so in doing that, we fighting, we arguing, we going to bed, we not going to bed together. I'm on the couch, you in the bed. I can't go to sleep, you go to sleep. Like, and it's all like we wasted all that time, all that energy, right? And then the problem still was there. Right. Right? Yeah.
And I think about like, because we like that word right, like we were right. Like, what does that even mean? Like, where does that get us? What does that? And what does being right get us? Like,
and that is the thing, right? Because what does that get you at the end of the day?
And I think that's true in most all cases with anything, like trying to be right. What does, at the end of the day, what does it what does it all come to?
Yeah,
like, what does it all
what
mean?
What do you accomplish?
Right.
Yeah, what do you accomplish by?
What did you get out of that?
Right.
You know, like people would say.
Yeah, like, okay, you were right. Okay, and okay,
right, next.
You want a cookie? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I think that is a thing with us as human beings, right? We always got to prove ourselves right, because I think that sometimes we want people to feel like we know something, feel like, we want to change the view of how people see us. And so sometimes we would just stomp on the chair until somebody says you're right. Right.
Yeah.
And I think that is the problem that gets lost. Yeah. Right. It's not who's right and who's wrong.
Right.
Right. It's not who, because it gets you nowhere, especially when you're a team. Yeah. Right. Especially when, as a team, we want to be together. Mm-hmm. Right. We want to walk hand in hand, step by step together. And it's like, who cares if who's right? Right. Yeah. Who cares who's wrong? Right. We want to be able to say, hey, let's fix the problem.
We met the goal. That's that's at the end of the day, we want to meet the goal. But I think that what you just said was important, because I think the whole right thing, I think we have, even as couples, married couples, we have like stuck our fork in that. And it's been like, what does that even mean at the end of the day? The longer you're married, it's just like,
we spent time being mad over what? Right. Over, I left a dirty dish in the sink. Yeah. Right. Something like that.
And that's not right.
Right. Like, again, right. Those are the things. And so it goes, that's why I think they go step by step, hand in hand. It goes back to communication, right? It all goes back to that, because a lot of times, and those who are listening and those who are watching, you have to ask yourself, how many times did I waste time trying to prove myself right? Yeah. And then at the end of the day, what did proving myself right get me? Right. Like, I know a lot of people who've proved themselves right who are alone. Yeah. Right. Who are divorced, who are not in their relationship anymore. Right.
But they was right.
But they were right. Right. Right.
Yeah. So the right is very funny, because it's like, in marriage, it doesn't really correlate to much.
Yeah, it does.
You know what I mean? And even like you talked about being right, the communication, expectation management. It's like, even in situations where, like, say me and you, like, okay, I wash dishes every Friday. Yeah. And that is an expectation. That is something we agreed upon. Yeah. And I miss washing a dish on Friday. Yeah. You are right. Right. But do we want to wake up to a dirty kitchen in the morning? Right. Like, it's all, so if you got the time, go ahead and clean up the kitchen, and then we can have, and we can have a conversation about it the next day without being petty about it, without like not doing it because it's not my turn to do it. Or being petty about, I washed the dishes last night because you couldn't do it. Obviously you didn't do it. It was your day. And just having a real conversation like, hey, I noticed you didn't wash the dishes. Like, something happened yesterday. Is it maybe Fridays don't work for you? You could pick up another day, and I could pick up another day, or just like a constructive conversation. But like you said, that right thing, it'll kill us every time.
I think that's very true, because I think of recently for us, like, we have two things that we sharing, like, and that's washing of wash the clothes, drying the clothes, folding the clothes, and then making up the bed, whoever's the last person in the bed, right?
You was petty about the making up the bed this morning. But I digress.
You digress, right? And so again, right? Understanding, like, hey, but I did say, I did, after my little shot, I did say, hey, like, I'm noticing, like, lately,
it wasn't I'm noticing, like, lately. It wasn't that. It was petty.
But then I did dial it back and say, hey, you've been leaving me out to dry. Like, I've been having to make up the bed, and you just out. Like, you just out. Because, on certain days she does work from home. Yeah. And so, I usually that she leaves super early. So I'm usually the last person, that's leaving the bed because of how early she leaves to go to work. So, that's cool. But I'm like, hey.
Because our agreement is whoever is out the bed last makes up the bed, which most times is him. Except
Most
for like
times.
maybe some days I work from home.
Right. So yeah. So, you know, learn how to be peaceful.
Yeah.
And not,
Choose peace.
Choose peace,
Yeah,
right?
choose
So
peace.
what would be another one, right? If you would say, okay, we've talked about learning each other's communication style. We talked about understanding the problem is the problem and not each other. What will be the other one?
I would say put your pride to the side.
Swallow your pride.
I would say put your pride to the side.
That's tough. Let's dig.
Yeah, I would say that because I feel like a lot of times petty comes in because you're too prideful to admit that you're wrong, right? That wrong and that right. Because now we got right and now we got wrong.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you just have too much pride to be like, you know what, you right. You probably could do something better than me. Like, you know, I think of it like, you know, when you first get married and you think about like things that you're good at, things that I'm not good at, things that I'm good at, things that you aren't good at, and being like, but this is what I'm supposed to do versus this is what you're supposed to do, and kind of putting your pride aside, like, you know what? You do got a degree in finances. Maybe you should be over finances. Instead of being like, I'm the man of the house. I should be over the finances, you know. And I'm just throwing that out there as like an example of what I'm talking about, like putting your pride to the side.
Funny you threw that example out, because that was the example that I was going to harp on. For us in our relationship, that was one thing that it wasn't. I guess I wouldn't say. Well, you may think differently, and that's okay. But I don't think I was too prideful on was saying, hey, you're great at finances. Right. Like my wife in the military, one of her jobs was she handled the budget for like one of the biggest hospitals in the United States Air Force, period. Right. So like you're doing budget for surgeries and all of these things. And I'm like, you know, this girl, like, why in the world am I going to sit here and try to rack my brain on keeping our finances? This is what she
was racking your brain.
When this is what she does. And so I was just like, hey, like, you got it, right? Just make sure I can, you know, when I want to buy a toy or something, like when I want to do something for me, some pleasure, like there's money for that. Like that's all I'm going to ask. And I believe that has really helped us, right? In being, you know, who does what. Like I think for one thing, like, you know, you do the finances. I'm more of the structure, right? Because I'm a structured person, right? So it's on, you know, the one thing you choose, I would say that you're like, hey, you got it. Like when it comes to discipline, when it comes to structure, like that's your thing. And so because of that, because of us swallowing that pride, we have learned how to be a good team. Knowing our strengths and our weakness, right? Like I think of when we go to a teacher conference, right? We don't have too many of those now because our kids are older. It was like, hey, only thing I'm worried about is discipline. Right. Are they sitting their butts down, getting their schooling? Because the grades should reflect that they're disciplined. If the teacher says that they're disciplined. So that's exactly what I do. I go in there and tell the teacher, hey, talk about grades with her. She do grades. She do, you know, writing and arithmetic. That's her lane. I do discipline. Are you having a problem? Right? Because that's what I do. You know, we discipline people. We're going to leave it like that.
Disciplinarian. Disciplinarian.
Right. And so that has understanding, but when there is pride, right, when pride is so prevalent in the relationship, right, you will find yourself, you know, hitting your head against the wall.
Because I'll say I was a little bit prideful with the structure thing. Because when you first came, you had a lot of structure, and I was like, I am not this structure, and I don't even know if I want to be this structure. Right. But I found that, like, even though I wasn't that structure, like that our kids needed that structure. So at first it was a little bit of a toil, but because I felt like, you know, I'm kind of like, ooh, now I got to line up, you know, but then it was like, you know, the kids start coming along and it's like, I need to make sure that they lined up, you know? So I just kind of was like, well, what you say? What you think we should do? You know what I mean? And I had to kind of let my pride go and kind of let that go because I was kind of like, you know, at the end of the day, I want to make sure our kids are structured. They got some routines. They got some discipline, right? And those things. So I think even for me, that was a little bit of pride that I think I faced. I don't know if you realized it or not, but just kind of, I was like, I feel like I should be, you know, the person kind of setting it, setting the structure and the routine, but it was just like, girl, you ain't got none. So like, okay, can you help us? You know what I mean? So yeah.
I don't think, and I think that's very important, because when you put your pride aside, you can compromise.
Yeah.
Right. When you put your pride aside, you can find yourself in the middle.
Yeah.
Right. And say, what's the better thing for the team? Right. For us as a couple.
Right.
And I think that's very important. Right. Because, man, all pride does is choke it up.
Yeah,
all pride does is kill things. All pride does is make
kill
you
things.
Yeah. All pride does is make you arrogant and things of that nature, right? And you're puffed up, and that's not what it is. Because when you have a description of what God says of what love is, it goes against those prideful things. It's not puffed up. It's not remembering the wrong. And so you have to remember that when you're in a relationship with your mate, with your spouse, or with you're getting ready to become spouse, or whatever it is, you must remember that, hey, what are we trying to accomplish? Right. And if I say I love them, right, then there's no room for petty.
Right.
Right. Because in essence, love goes against petty.
Yeah.
Right. In essence, love goes against pride and all of those things. And so we have to remember that at the end of the day, that I can't love and be petty.
Yeah.
Oof, that's don't not you getting quiet on me with it. But in essence, because pettiness does not show love.
Yeah. And also when we talk about pettiness, even if we're talking about just like marriages, family dynamics in general.
Yeah.
Because I feel like sometimes I could be a little petty with the kids too. And I really have to like most times I catch myself and I really have to be like, okay, this is not helping.
Yeah.
Like this is not like I'm like, what good would this do, Tay? Don't even do it. Don't say it. Even though they may like get on my nerves a little bit, or they may even say something petty to me, I really have to remind myself I am not their age.
Yeah.
Like I am the grown up in this situation, and I have to act like it. So I find myself even with that.
And you know what? I think
catching myself.
And I'm not gonna lie, like I can attest to it too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can have a little petty moment, your kids say something, you like, you be like, no, like, you know what I mean? You like, it was, you have a little witty, witty comeback.
Right. And then the kids would be like, it's like, it's almost like you took it too far for them. Like it was cool, like, but your petty just was too much. And so, just even learning from them that like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm the grown up.
Yeah. Like
being petty with them is not cool.
Yeah.
Like, because now they looking at me like,
yeah, and I think that that's even that you talked about the kids. It goes even further, even with being a child, right?
Yeah.
Like we are grown children, right? And so there always comes a season where you begin to parent your parents, right?
Yeah,
and so and like I would say one of the things is your with having your mom living with us.
Yeah.
Right. I've had to, learn to not being petty because, your mom is, and she doesn't mean it. Right.
Yeah. But just talking about that communication style, that directness.
Right. Yeah. Because, one instance your mom has, when her care comes, she'll be like, somebody at the door, you'd be like, good morning. How are you?
Can you get the door?
Right. Can you get the door?
Yeah.
And it was like, I really had, it stretched me.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I'm about to be like fire off. Cause like, first off, I'm about to just go down there and be like, hey, first off, this is me and your daughter's house.
Yeah,
like, and when you come, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, you can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. You can't
be petty.
Can't be petty. Right.
Right.
When we were talking about this topic, I was just thinking about us, right?
Yeah.
Thinking about our relationship. But when you think about it, it's with every relationship,
it's with
right?
every relationship.
Yeah, it's with friends. It's with being, siblings.
Right.
Like, because listen, the pettiness is real when you got siblings.
And that pride be coming in like, who you think I am?
Right.
Like,
like, because sometimes I be having that when I talk to my own parents. I have to be, look in the mirror, but like, am I 12 again?
Right.
Like, do I live at your house? So I think that that's very, very, very important.
Yeah, yeah.
To understand to the communication, the problem, but then also the pride, right?
Yeah.
I think that's very important to understand to swallow that pride.
Right.
So what would you say after doing that, right? After understanding if I'm choosing peaceful over being petty, right? I'm learning how to communicate, right? Learning how to understand the problems, not each other, but then also swallowing that pride. What will be the other thing that you would encourage our listeners and our viewers to say, hey, add this to your tool belt to remember?
The goal. What you trying to accomplish? At the end of the day, what you trying to accomplish?
Yeah.
Even with everything, like even what you say with like my mom, that situation, right? Yeah. And it's kind of like, oh, I want to be petty and be like, can you put a can or
right.
a please or something on that? At the end of the goal, what you trying to accomplish? So if you go downstairs and you be petty, like, girl, this me, my house. You can at least ask me. Like, the goal may be accomplished, but it's probably going to be with some irritation.
But in essence, speaking of that, it wouldn't be accomplished because understanding your mother, she doesn't mean any harm by it.
Yeah, of course.
And so it would break her because it will make her feel like she's not welcome. Right.
But the goal still may be accomplished, but it's like, how do you want somebody the impact to be?
That's
because the goal would still be accomplished. Like she probably would be like a can or a please next time, but it will probably be out of like
fear.
Fear or like something like that. And it's like, babe, you don't want people to feel that, especially people you love or people you respect. Right? You want the goal to be something that you both want to attain and want to reach, right? So even like I said, like going back to my previous example, me asking you to do something around the house, like keeping the goal. The goal is to get the thing done around the house and still maintain a healthy relationship with my husband. So me being petty, the healthy relationship part is going to be in jeopardy because now we're going to have to talk through how I'm talking to him or how I'm, approaching him. Even if I feel like something didn't get done in the manner in which I want to, but they still may be accomplished, but the impact or the damage of the accomplishment. So I just think you just got to remember the goal. And sometimes there are multiple goals in trying to get something done. There should be multiple goals, especially in a family and in a married couple. The goal should be always to have the least damage. And to also accomplish whatever you guys are setting out to accomplish. Right?
No, so I think that's very important. I think that's in anything that you're going to tackle. In any subject, in anything you're going to communicate, I think you have to understand what is the goal.
Right.
I found, and I don't know if we talked about it before in our previous season, but one of the things that I was stretched in, was understanding the goal. And I was stretching it because when we would be upset, when we had one of them fiery conversations, and you'd be like, "Man, I'm going to bed. I'm upset. I don't want to talk about it no more. Like I don't care about Rick. I don't care about forgiveness. Nothing. I'm going to bed, right?" And I'd be like, "All right, fine. I'm gonna go to bed too." And then I would never find the peace.
You would never go to bed.
It made me so angry because here you are snoring. Here you are going to bed. I'm like, well, why? You know what I mean? And I understood my role as the husband, as a covering that, if nobody else kept the goal in front, it was supposed to be me. Right. And we would sit down and have a conversation and we would do it. But then it was just like, it's understanding, like, and that's again, go back to the pride, right? Like understanding what is the goal, right? My goal is to be, married, right? Not just for a season, but for a lifetime, right? And so what is the goal, right? What I don't want to
big picture,
I don't want to be married and then there would be something, a chink in the armor. That you would, that would stay with us for a minute. Right? Because I was petty. Right. And so I'm understanding, because I'm understanding the goal, I can come to you soft. I can come to you and be humble. I can come to you and watch how I communicated, watch my words, right? Season my words with love and with grace, right? And with humility, because why? I'm understanding the goal, that the goal is for us to walk together in love. The goal is for us to be reconciled. The goal is for us to have understanding, and the goal is for us to have clarity. And I can't achieve none of those things being petty.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think that's so important for you all and for us as we continue to walk this life out, because who knows what's up ahead the next day, right? But if I understand, man, what is the goal of this? Right. Like for instance, when you talk about the outdoor furniture, what was the goal? Right. Not for us to have the furniture up and we ain't enjoying it because we don't want to be next to each other because you was petty and bullied me into getting it together, right? Because I'm like, I'm getting it together because I want to hear them out, right?
Right.
And so understanding that if I can communicate properly what it is, then I'm going to achieve the goal. And when we achieve the goal, we're going to achieve it happy.
Yeah.
We're going to achieve it with peace.
Right.
We're going to achieve it with love.
Yeah.
And going to achieve it with clarity.
Yeah.
Right.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. I like it too. So, all right. So as we tie the bow, because that's our thing, we like to wrap this thing up.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you, what will be in all the things that we said, all the examples we gave, what will be the thing you say, hey, take this one thing away with you, put it in your hat, put it in your pocket and keep it with you?
The one thing I would say to take away is put your pride to the side. I think that was the biggest one.
Right.
And also I would say put your pride to the side, because I feel like at the top of all of it, the reason you're petty, the reason like you go through all these different things versus just choosing to be peaceful, would be your pride. And also I would say, just take a moment, take a beat.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes we just want to do a little snap back, a quick wit. Yeah. But just take a moment and think about what you're about to say.
Right.
How it'll impact somebody or, your family or your spouse, before you actually act or speak.
No, yeah. And what I would say is you can communicate your frustration, your hurt, and you can still communicate it in a way where it can be received.
That's true.
You know, you don't have to be petty just because you felt like,
because you felt the way
about it, right? You can communicate that and still getting it across, and the goal still be reached and accomplished.
That is good.
And I think that's the thing that, we got to really understand. Just because you hurt does not give you the license to communicate that hurt in a hurtful manner. Yeah. Right? Learn how to communicate that hurt in a way where somebody can receive it, somebody can acknowledge it, and then somebody can fix it. Yeah. Right? And I think that's important.
That's really good. I like that. I'm so glad you said that, because I feel like that's what we kind of teach our kids.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like all of our kids have a little bit of wittiness to them.
Oh my goodness.
And I feel like I'm always constantly telling them, and I feel like what you just said, I feel like sometimes they have that wittiness because one of them hurt each other's feelings. Yeah. And I feel like I'm always telling the one who received the wittiness from the other that, like, you don't have to do what they do. Yeah. You can respond in a way that is loving and just kind of letting them know how you feel about what they said, but you don't have to put any wit on it.
I got you.
And you'd be surprised how small that makes somebody feel after they've kind of been a little fast talking to you, and you come back and just be like, I feel like that was hurtful. Like, I get what you're saying, and I may not have done something right, but the way you spoke to me hurt. Yeah. And kind of talking through that with them. So I think that was really good. Yeah. Because I feel like that's something that I try to teach our kids all the time.
No, that is something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, family, listen. As quick as I feel like this episode was, it really wasn't. I feel like it was very powerful. Listen, I want you, if this episode was a blessing, if this episode challenged you, stretched you, helped you, do me a favor. Like it. Yeah. Share it. Subscribe to the channel.
Subscribe.
Whether you're listening to us or whether you're watching. Yeah. Subscribe. Go extra mile, comment. Yes. Let us know how this episode helped you, how it stretched you, how you felt about it. Yeah. And then if you have a question or if you want something that you want us to discuss something, put it in the comment section. Let us know. Listen, family, I'm Jay.
And this is Tay.
And you just viewed and listened to another episode of the Unscripted Journey Podcast. Peace out.
See ya.